Hello everyone, welcome back to Grow Roots. This is Shannon and welcome to my early November container garden tour. I do apologize everyone, I meant to do a container garden tour in October. It just didn't happen. So today is November 2nd. It is early November. I do have still some really fun, interesting fall and winter containers to show you, and even some new things that are planted up in containers. So here we go. I'm starting out in my front yard with my front containers. So the first thing that I wanted to show y'all, and if you've watched any of my videos for the last, I don't know, month, then you know that I got a brand new topiary and I love it so much. It's my birthday present. My birthday was in October, and we went to Green Acres and we saw this. It is a Carolina sapphire cypress, kind of a species of Arizona cypress, and it's just this lovely blue-green color, and it's already formed in the shape of a topiary. So we picked it up. I do have some reservations about it. I think it's absolutely beautiful and perfect in this spot. I used to have a 3-tier planter planted here, and I planted annuals there, and I think that was lovely, but I was looking for more evergreen interest for my garden, and this will add that for sure. And it is a conifer. Conifers are very difficult here, especially in North Texas, because of our heat. And so there are very few conifers that we can actually grow. And they're great evergreen interest, and I've always wanted one. And this one is a really good example of one because it is native to, I think it's western New Mexico, and it's adapted to desert type conditions, really hot conditions. So it should do well. It's, I think, rated down to zone 7. Is it zone 6 or zone 7? So it should be fine in a container here. My only issue and reservation is that these trees can get 40 to 50 feet tall. And I spoke with the guy at Green Acres for a length of time, and he convinced me that in a container, in a topiary form, kept in topiary form, it should be good for years and years. So we shall see. But I thought it was worth a try. I just absolutely love it. A few of you had suggested that I plant some winter plantings down there, and I agree with you. I think it would be lovely. The problem is I don't know a lot about this plant, and it really does almost take up this whole container with its root system, and I don't want anything planted in there that's going to try and take its nutrients, especially while it's trying to get established in this container. So my lovely green grasshopper that Miss Stacy gave me is there, and that's all I'm going to do for now. But I did plant some really fun little winter pansies, or I'm sorry, violas down there beneath it. So I think that's really beautiful. And right now the black-eyed Susan vine is blooming really well right behind that, and I think it's absolutely beautiful there. So moving on, here is another container that is not a new container, but it's in a fairly new location. This is my Limelight Standard, and you can see that it's done for the season, but I'm kind of just keeping the old blooms on it for winter interest. I think it's fine. And then I also added some really fun dianthus and those yellow violas. I had planted some lemon balsedum back there initially, and so I kept that in there as well. So yeah, I think that's really beautiful. For now, I have a Sweet William planted there. It's still in its nursery container, like inside that white pot. I'm still trying to figure out where to put that, and I might actually just keep it there. I don't know. I may put it where the Supertunia bubblegums are still located. The Supertunias are about ready to be picked out, and then right here, these are so cute. These were on clearance for $1, and it's just variegated lily turf. So those do really well in shade, part shade locations, and for now they're just popped there, but I haven't figured out what I'm doing. I have another one right there too, and a few of them here. I just popped them kind of in various places, and I think I really like that. So we'll just see what we do. We have some mums that I need to deadhead big time. Interestingly enough, this yellow mum is turning pink on the outer edges. This was a yellow mum, and so is that one, and they need to be deadheaded, like I said, but it's been a crazy October, probably a crazy November too. Here in this pot, you can barely even see the pot anymore, y'all. This is one gerbera daisy, and it was itty bitty 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 early in the spring. It was given to me, and I have a triple bloom on it right now, but it has like quadrupled easily in size and taken over the entire pot. There were impatiens planted in there with a tiny little gerbera daisy, and now the gerbera daisy is completely, wow, you can barely even see the pot. I love it so much. It loves this location. It's kind of like a part shade location. And anyway, have y'all ever seen a triple bloom for a gerbera daisy? I'm just curious. This is the first time I've ever grown gerbera daisy before. So let me know in the comments if you've seen that before. But I think it's seriously one stem that goes into three. This is a double bloom right here, and then this one pops off there. It's so cool. Over here, I can't decide what to do with this because, okay, so this container was placed here in the spring so that I could grow some vines in it, okay? So over here, the vines that you see are Morning Glory and Black-Eyed Susan, and they didn't do as well. That container, the irrigation on it was just a little bit too much for that container, and it was too wet. And the vines didn't love that. And so they're still blooming. You can see Morning Glory's blooming and Black-Eyed Susan's blooming. And so that's the purpose of that container, is to get those vines going. But to fill in that container, I decided to buy some shade perennials when I found them on sale earlier this season. And so I have two types of leopard plant. I have this one. It's your standard giant leopard plant. I think it's absolutely beautiful. They love the shade. And then this is a spotted leopard plant. And I see a little bit of browning, but other than that, it looks like it's doing okay. And then I have, what type of Brunnera is that? Oh, Sea Heart Forget-Me-Not Brunnera is here too. And I have had a heck of a time with mealyworms or mealybugs. But the plant itself is okay. I don't even know. But all of that said, I had planned on transplanting these right at this time to a part shade garden that I have on the side of my house. But I love the look of it so much in this container. It's a beautiful shade container for any porch. They're perennials, and I've really taken to putting perennials in containers. I think you can see that through this container garden tour because, I mean, annuals, let's face it, annuals they can get rather expensive, especially when you have a lot of containers. And I think that a lot of perennials do really well in containers. So, I don't know. Tell me what y'all think. If you think I should keep them here or transplant them into my part shade garden on the side of my house, let me know. And then here is a beautiful topiary that I have of English ivy. That's the only thing in here. And this is going on its second year. This is evergreen through the winter for us. I would never plant this guy into my landscape because it would take over. I would be afraid that it would take over. So here it is. And I built this topiary myself from bamboo, and I absolutely love that container, especially since it is evergreen. And moving on over here, I know y'all can't tell, this is two very large containers next to each other, and this is my endless summer hydrangea, and this is a lace cap hydrangea. It's variegated lace cap. Absolutely beautiful. I love them so much. They're like, they're just, yeah. Anyway, as you can see, these lovely hydrangeas are getting a very pink / magenta tone to them. These are from very early in the season. I've been saying all summer long that if you guys keep your blooms on your endless summer hydrangeas, get past the greeny weird stage and they'll turn magenta for you. And then if you can see, the leaves are also starting to turn, and later this month the leaves will be this beautiful burgundy color like this. So it's just absolutely beautiful and true to its endless summer name. Look at this new bloom coming. So you can see it's starting out blue, and that one's going to be actually really, really pretty as we turn into December. I think it's going to turn very quickly. But these blooms just look so beautiful. I'm so glad I keep them on. A lot of people prune them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you keep them on, they look absolutely stunning. And then the variegated lace cap. The new growth is so stunning. The old growth, you can tell, it's so tired. It's so tired. But anyway, it's the most beautiful plant for foliage that I've ever seen, honestly. It is my favorite plant for foliage. Absolutely, hands down. And it loves this spot. It gets morning sun, afternoon shade. What more could a hydrangea macrophylla want, right? Let's turn around over here. This is such a fun container. So on the bottom here, I have my English ivy. I also have some dianthus in here as well. And I think that's so beautiful. And then up here, so if you can't see anymore, there is a plant stand that I've just popped right in the middle. And actually it is kind of leaning. I'm looking at that now. You couldn't really tell before that it was leaning. But this is a pot on top of the plant stand. Like I said, you can't tell anymore. But this is Tradescantia zebrina. I've never placed it in this location ever before, and now I know, like, it absolutely loves that. So again, it is a pretty sunny location. Very, very bright light, morning sun, afternoon shade. So it gets direct morning sun. And this guy is not going to survive if I keep it out below, what, 40-degree temperatures, 45-degree temperatures. So pretty soon here, I'm going to have to spray this guy to try and get rid of any pests and bring this in and try to overwinter it and keep it looking beautiful. And then I'm going to put it back outside, back out in this location, because wow, it's just stunning. So I'm going to take you over here because I do include these in my front garden tour, but I mean, because they're part of the garden, but they're also part of containers. Just wanted to show you two more for us perennials that look amazing in containers and do very, very well all season long. This is Mystic Spires Blue Salvia, and I don't know, there are probably 50 bees, and one's just kind of, yeah, you see that bee? Oh my goodness, he was attacking me. Anyway, there are like 50 bees on it, and it is a cloudy, kind of almost rainy day in November, and they're still going strong, and this plant is still blooming strong. It's unbelievable. This is a baby and has been blooming since April. I'm not joking. So Mystic Spires Blue Salvia, just absolutely amazing. This one is not doing as well. It's possible that it's because one thing that did survive, because I did have these planted with lots of other plants, y'all, but they all died. The one thing that did survive is the Superbena amethyst, sparkling amethyst. And so perhaps it's because it's sharing nutrients with the sparkling amethyst. I'm not sure, but it's still blooming. There's still bees all over it, and butterflies. The monarchs have really enjoyed this as well, for sure, as they're passing through, migrating to Mexico. But it's just a stunning plant, y'all. And I'm hoping to overwinter them. They are hardy down to zone 8, but in a container, you know, if we get a really big cold snap, these are going to have to be wrapped up. And I do have frost cloth that I can wrap them up in for sure. Because when things are in containers, they need to be cold hardy, 2 zones lower than your current zone. And so these would not survive if they were not wrapped up. And we'll see. I don't know. They may not come back because they are in containers, but they are absolutely beautiful. So coming up here to close to our door, I have a container here that is mostly tricolor sweet potato vine. It has done really well here as well. And then late season, I put Tradescantia zebrina cuttings here. And then this is a begonia that has just not done all that well, to be honest. And then I have a 3-tier plant stand that I got just about 2 months ago. Love it, love it. I got it. A neighbor was selling it super cheap in our neighborhood, so I just went down the street and picked it up. I got so lucky, and I love it so much. So a lot of these are going to be dying here pretty soon once we get our first frost, but not all of them will, and I can overwinter many of them. So obviously the coleus is going to go. This rubber plant, I forget the technical name for it, is gonna pass away. But this liriope that I got, variegated liriope on clearance, one of the reasons I think I will definitely put some down here because they will be evergreen, I believe. The vinca is gonna die, another rubber plant, another liriope, and then I have some hydrangea babies that I have propagated. So they will stay here. I think I'm going to have to repot them though in some bigger pots. Obviously, this is a fiddle leaf. It needs to be cleaned. Everything, you know, all of these annual or house plants are going to need to be cleaned, sprayed for pests, and then brought inside here pretty soon. I have Mexican heather that's not going to last, 2 more baby hydrangeas, and then these 2 are going to go inside. This is actually a spider plant. Look at all these babies. I have tons of babies, lots and lots and lots of them. And then I have my Thanksgiving cactus up here as well. So really, really love that plant stand and just how it looks at the front of our porch. I'm excited for decorating it for Christmas. So I think I'm going to get some Christmas decor from Hobby Lobby, put that there. Maybe some poinsettias, the lily turf or liriope is going to be there. The hydrangeas will be there, but they will defoliate for sure. But maybe some other little evergreens if I can find some. So that's super fun. So I have now moved into my backyard, and this is kind of a brand new shade container garden, and sorry about all of the terracotta pots. There's just no storage space, so that's where they're gonna be for now. But one of the places that I thought I would put that variegated lily turf or variegated liriope was kind of in between here. I think they would look really nice, and I think they would do really well in this shade location. But what's planted here in these containers are hosta. And I got this hosta on clearance last year. I can't even believe that they're kind of still foliated right now on November 2nd. They're obviously done for the season and starting to go dormant. But these are very large hostas. Let's see, Shadowland, Proven Winners Shadowland Diamond Lake. This one is Proven Winners Shadowland Woo La La. So that one's huge, huge. This one is, which one was it? Ellerbrook hosta. And this one is Elegans Blue hosta. So all of these are very, very large hostas. I did it kind of as an experiment this year to see if I could grow hosta in Texas, because hosta is actually very, very difficult with our heat. But this is an absolute shade location. It does not get any sun and they have thrived here. And so I'm so thrilled about that. And now that it is fall, look at that. I'm debating. The other thing that I could do, well, no, I don't trust that they would do well in the ground. I honestly don't. I was going to say, I could divide this into so many, y'all. Look at that. And right now is the time to divide and transplant and all of those things. The only problem is I don't know that these would survive in the ground. I think they've done so well because they are in containers, and I've been able to control a lot more in the container than in the ground. But yeah, I mean, I could divide these, especially this one too. I would kind of like to take some of these out and put them in, you know, my shade garden on the side of my house on the other side too. But anyway, for now they will remain as is. There's Chloe, our little backyard kitty cat. So I have some more containers over here. This one is brand new. Let me tell you why it's in the garden. So this location, it's just my vision for many, many years to have a limelight hydrangea as the center of this beautiful little garden that I have over here in my backyard. However, for 2 years, I had a limelight hydrangea that was planted in a pot here, and it actually did very well. It wasn't until I decided to plant it into the ground that it died in the very same location. And then last year, I replaced the one that died with a little lime hydrangea that I got on clearance to try again. And guess what? I think it died as well. I'm going to show it to you in just a second because I've taken it out and I've placed it in a pot. But to replace it, here we go for a third time. I just can't let go of this vision, but I'm going to go back to the container, y'all. I think something is happening here. When I dug up the little lime, the root system on one side was almost non-existent, like something had eaten the roots. I know I have moles. I didn't see any evidence of active mole tunnels currently, but I just don't know. So anyway, we're going to put it in a container this time. So this is a limelight hydrangea that I grew from a cutting. It's only 1 year old, y'all. This came from one single stick, you know, like over a year ago. So in 2023 is when I grew roots from the single stick cutting. And then 2024, it's become a plant and has really established and flowered for the first time and all of that. So anyway, another interesting tidbit about this guy, I'm not sure if you can see this, but I have one single stem like in the very center that is super straight, super strong, and super tall. So this makes it a prime candidate. If I want to, I could train this into a standard limelight hydrangea, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to do exactly that next year. So all of that is going to be cut away in late winter, early spring, and then I'm just going to keep this one stem that will become the trunk, and then at the top on these nodes, I will allow, I don't know, I think I'll probably allow 4 stems to grow along there, and I'll have to try to keep them, you know, upright, and then that will form the base of the tree, basically, base of all of the branches. So that's my plan for next year, and I think this is going to be successful. I've already put an irrigation tube under there, so it's going to get irrigated just fine, and I really do think this is going to be pretty successful here now that it's in a container. So moving on to this one, I have 2 matching containers. Like I have this little round area, and then so I have this container over here, and then I have this one on this side, and these just have the most beautiful matrix pansies in them. I love this color. Oh my gosh, it's like this beautiful magenta color, and yeah, so I picked these up at Callaway's, so they're there, and then the same exact thing on the other side. Right here, I have a blue agave. That was a little pup from a friend in the neighborhood that gave me one of her little pups, and I've grown it for a few years now. I think it's ready to be planted in a new bigger container if I want it to get larger. But man, look at these. You really have to be careful. I have to move this when I'm gardening because I will get stabbed by these crazy needles. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. Moving on here, this is a strawberry planter that is now an herb planter, and so I had peppermint growing, I had apple mint, and it's still going really, really strong. I have one little strawberry in there, and then I have lemon thyme that's still actually doing pretty well there. I have oregano that exploded over here. I have a tricolor sage that's just barely hanging on, but I love it so much. Oh yes, and I had dill and fennel as well. They just did not do well in this planter. I want to do dill and fennel like planted sporadically through this garden next spring for the caterpillars, for the swallowtail caterpillars. So I hope that will do really, really well in the ground instead of planted here. Coming over here, wow. I don't know if I've ever seen my desert rose bloom like this in November. It's insane. So this is my desert rose plant. It is absolutely one of my favorite containers. Ooh, what has she got? She got aphids. What is all of that? I did do a lot of gardening. It's not aphids, y'all, it's dirt. And it's because I did a ton of transplanting earlier today. And so like dirt got sprayed everywhere when I was rinsing my hands off. So that's what that is. Not aphids, thank goodness. But again, this guy is also gonna have to get sprayed here pretty soon for pests and brought inside. But it's giving me one last complete bloom. That's insane. That's how warm we have been. Desert rose needs temperatures in 80s, 90s to bloom. So that tells you how warm our October was to like make this plant think that, hey, I need to do another really, really big bloom. That's insane. But I absolutely love this plant. Look at that bulbous codex that it has. And that's going to be brought inside. I do overwinter it in my home. I put it under a grow light and keep it in my home and then bring it back out because it is just a spectacular plant. I absolutely love it. Coming over here is my strawberry planter, and it's actually doing really, really good for November as well. I had a ton of strawberry runners, and I have 14 baby strawberry plants that I have rooted. And let me show you right here. I have 14 of these. So I caught the runners as they were coming down and just placed them in some dirt and waited for them to root. And now I've cut them off of the main plant because they're rooted and well established now. And so, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. I just didn't want to make the runners go to waste, and I may sell them for a couple bucks just to cover the potting soil that I used. You know what I mean? I have pansies and dianthus and violas that I still need to plant in the landscape. So that's why you see all of that there. But coming back to the strawberry planter, there's all kinds of types in here. There's Everest, Fort Laramie. Some of them are ever bearing. Some of them are June bearing. All-Star. Yeah, and then I forget what these two types are because those are from the year before, but they've done very, very well, and looking forward to next season with them now that they're fully established there. I also have a balloon flower little baby that's going to get transplanted to the front yard here very soon. Look at Chloe, oh my goodness. Anyway, I have some annuals that were pulled from other locations. Here, this guy's going to sleep. This is a summer carnival hardy hibiscus, and I'm going to give it one more season. It has just not done well for me, and this part is kind of reverted back to whatever it was growing from. I don't know. It's going to sleep, and this is normal for it for sure. It has beautiful foliage, and like I said, I could just grow it for the foliage alone. I only saw a couple of blooms on it. It has just not thrived this year. I've only had it for one full year, but it took so long, so long for it to wake up. And then for it to not do well when it did wake up is just frustrating. So I'm going to give it another year. We'll see what happens with this guy, but it's done for the season. Here, This was some annuals. I transplanted a Mr. Goodbud sedum actually just last night, and a bunch of it like fell off or like got cut off in the transplant, and so I decided not to put them to waste. With sedum, they propagate very, very easily. And so I decided to this one actually has some roots right here. So I think if anything's going to take, it's going to be this one, because it already has a root system, a little baby root system, but it's still rooted. And then the rest of these are just like cuttings that I just basically, let me take one of them up. It's probably not going to survive, but basically you defoliate all the bottom stem and then push that down into the soil. Make sure that the soil stays moist, but not overly moist. It just doesn't need to dry up completely, and then it should establish some roots. So I might have a container of beautiful Mr. Goodbud sedum. These have beautiful, beautiful bright blooms, and this is already done blooming. But there you have it. This right here is a Crepe Myrtle that I grew from a baby. I'm not sure I'm gonna keep. Various reasons. Crepe myrtles here struggle with bark scale like crazy, and this one's already struggling with it, and I'm just kind of done with it, to be honest. But I just wanted to see if I could grow it from a seedling, and I did, and now that's been successful, and I'm not sure I'm gonna keep it. And then I've already told you about that guy planted with beautiful, lovely little pansies. Over here I have this really cute little Ferris wheel planter, and I put hens and chicks in these pots for a couple of reasons. Whatever goes here with our hot summers, it has to be very, very heat and drought tolerant, because this is not on irrigation. And the hens and chicks have done pretty well. I have one that's not surviving. The other thing that I wanted was something that would be evergreen as well, or survive our winters, I should say. I shouldn't say evergreen. I'm actually not sure if hens and chicks are evergreen. We're going to find out, but I know they will survive our winter, so that's really important. It's rated down to a zone 3. So they have survived the summer really, really well, all except that guy. That guy did not. This guy tried to hold on right there. See? I could probably take that out and take this out and put it in its place, but he did not do very well. The rest of them did, though, and I'm kind of proud of myself. This one struggled a bit, you can see, but really I'm pretty happy with how they look here in November from a very, very hot summer. So let's see what they do in the winter time. Hopefully they are like an evergreen type of interest here, and that's really, really fun for that type of container. Moving over here. Okay, so this is pink muley grass. I've had it for 1 year. It used to be planted up until this morning. It was planted right there. It did not get enough sun there. This purple hyacinth bean vine was absolutely way crazier than I ever would have imagined, and it blocked the sunlight because the sun comes in from over here. And so the sun coming in from over here, like this purple hyacinth bean vine, just completely blocked the purple muley or the pink muley grass sun. And I thought that it wasn't blooming, but when I did pull it up, I noticed, you can't even see it on camera though. There's one bloom. Can you see? It's fuzzy. I don't think I can get it, but it is pink. It is one bloom. I want it to be full of it because these are absolutely beautiful. That's why I bought it. And then so I dug it up and I was going to transplant it. I can't find a spot in my garden that, I mean, the things are like 5 feet tall. Well, yes, some of the blades of grass are 5 feet tall. I didn't expect that. I thought it was a shorter growing grass for whatever reason. And so you kind of need like a huge area around it, or else it's going to smother all of the other plants. So I'm keeping it here. This isn't necessarily a full sun spot like they like, but it is close. It is like 5 hours of sun. So I think it'll be, well, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a lot happier here than it was in its other location. So it is also not on irrigation. I'm gonna see how it does, because pink muley grass is very drought resistant, and it's up here, and I get to watering up here a lot, so I think it's going to be okay, but I can add irrigation to it, no problem. So anyway, that's what that is. That's new. And then over here, this is the little lime hydrangea that I told you about that was planted in that spot, and I'm pretty sure it died, although the existing roots looked pretty good. So I'm a little bit hopeful that it will come back to life in the spring. So one of the things that they say to look at is like down at the base, see if this is green. And oh, it's mush. I think it's dead, y'all. But I have thought that before, and things have, oh, I really think it's dead. It is. Oh no. Okay, I may as well just take that out, because that's actually mush. I don't think it's alive at all. Oh, that's such a bummer. Eek, yeah, it's mush. Okay, that tells me to take that out. Okay, good to know. That is gone. I have a planter here. This is where I grow all of my propagated hydrangeas from. Basically, when I go in late winter and early spring to trim my panicle hydrangeas, I take the cuttings and I let them dry just out here on the patio by themselves. I let them dry out for 2 weeks, and then I stick them in this soil. And this is not one that was successful, but if they are successful, they start growing roots. And this year, this was a little like this plant, in fact, when I trimmed it, this is a cutting from it. I did have one though that survived, and it came from right here. And this morning I took it out, and it's very well rooted. It's been rooting since the spring, and so it's its own little lime hydrangea. So I'm gonna put that over there. I'm going to take that out and I'm going to grow the little lime hydrangea there. So that is the way that I'm continuing to be able to grow the panicle hydrangeas, because they're so easy to propagate. I get babies every year, and so even if the parents don't survive, I have babies that survive. So there you go. Moving on. Okay, so let's do this one first. This container has foxtail ferns. I absolutely love them. Last year I overwintered them in my home. I will never do that again. They're so messy. So yeah, and I can't move this pot because it also has a Confederate star jasmine vine, and the vine is on the pole. So I can't move the pot. I can dig them up, put them in a different pot, put them in my garage and try that. But my husband's not going to be very happy with that. So I'm going to try my luck. Sometimes they do overwinter. It's supposed to be a pretty mild winter, a pretty warm winter for us. So it's possible, because they are marginal, it's possible that they will survive. So we'll just have to see. But this is my favorite type of fern, hands down. Like, I love it. It's so beautiful. I do have some tricolor sweet potato vine growing out of there as well. Right here, all of these containers are just like the things that I'm propagating / taking care of. Okay, so this was this a peachy keen? A super bean, peachy keen. I was thinking about popping that somewhere in the landscape. Those are some of my strawberry plants that were propagated. This is a pink star verbena, I think it was what it was. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. I have baby desert rose right there, and this is another baby desert rose. This is 2 years old. So those are going in pretty soon. And then right here, this is all, well, there were some, I cut off some of my coreopsis, and these actually grow pretty well from cuttings. So that's kind of placed in some moist soil really quickly. And then this is all that sedum that kind of fell apart when I transplanted it. My neighbor is most likely going to want that, so I kind of saved it for her. I'm hoping to be able to give this to her later today. And almost lastly, I have my Monstera plants from the house. They're so big now that I don't have room for them. I don't know. I might have room for this guy. I think I might give this one away. I'm not going to say to who, but anyway, those loved that location. It is a very bright, bright indirect sunlight is what these guys get, and they absolutely love it. So, well, that's all I can think of. Okay, so that concludes my early November container garden tour. This is going to be probably the last container garden tour of 2024. In December, a lot of these are going to be gone, completely dead. Like the pansies will be fine, but it's just not going to be super interesting. Y'all are not even going to want to watch it. So I will cover what containers I do have I do continue my front garden tours and my backyard garden tours in the month of December and January. So stay tuned for those and you'll see my containers there. But in the meantime, I thank you all so much for watching. This has been my most favorite container plantings year ever in 2024. So I'm just learning so much every year. I consider myself pretty new at this, to be honest. And so I just thank you all so much for watching and just listening to me rant about the things that I love. And I hope you all have a fantastic day. Bye-bye, everybody.